Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. If you were here before, welcome back. Going to try something different this time. I thought I'd review a comic book. And since if you've seen any of my other videos, you know I'm a big fan of Femforce, which is published by AC Comics down in Florida. I thought I'd start with some of the more recent Femforce issues and just give you a little look at them and some of my thoughts. Today we'll start with Femforce 188, and this has a color cover by Eric Coyle and Bill Black. I think Bill Black did the colors on it. It's a shot of, hang on, let me give you a look here. So it's a shot of the team. Tara is the jungle girl who can grow giant-sized. Stardust is an alien from the planet Ruhr. Sin has mind capabilities that let her create things that she can imagine. Miss Victory is the powerhouse of the team and the leader. She-Cat has a cat goddess, an Egyptian cat goddess. Sekhmet inhabits her and makes her very feral and gives her feline powers for fighting. And Night Veil is the sorceress. So that's the team that we have. This issue, Femforce 188, was the return of Femforce to color interiors. Femforce has been color, then it was black and white. It's color, then black and white, but it's been quite a while since it was in color. And it actually it was a fantastic book in black and white. The artist's talents and techniques, using the inks, creating light and shadow, creating depth, really was stellar, and really kind of shined through in black and white. And they've had some great inkers over the years, and some excellent pencilers who've gone on to work for big companies. But this is a return to color. A lot of people like color. I kind of like them in black and white, but I know that I'm in the minority there. So the colors, I believe, are done by Bill Black. They're pretty good. I like they're not flats. They show some depth, but they're not overly glossy looking. They're not as shiny as computer generated colors sometimes can be. It's not cell shading. But it's definitely the colors are well done, and I'll show some interior pages as we go. The book starts with a kind of a missive from the publisher. Mark Heike is the publisher of AC Comics. He's also their editor-in-chief. He took over both those roles from Bill Black when Bill Black retired from kind of the everyday comic book life. And he took over as editor-in-chief first, and then Bill pulled farther away, and then Mark is now the publisher, and Femforce continues. I'm reviewing issue 188. It's been around for quite a long time. I think the first issue was in 1985. So Mark gives us a kind of a rundown of the publishing house's history and this return to color and thanks the fans for their support. And then we move into the story. And this is Femforce Issue 188. It's actually a very good one for fans who, or for people who aren't fans who want to get into the book and might be deterred by 187 previous issues. It does a good job right at the beginning of the issue of giving you a sense of the world and events that have gone before. So you start with a longtime foe of the Femforce, Alizarin Crimson, and she is giving you some of the history and some of the mystic artifacts and some of the things that have gone down in the past, and it provides a good introduction. It's basically a 6-page, I want to say, epilogue, 7-8 pages, getting you into what's happened in the past, who some of the players are, and you get to see the different team members in action, shots depicted throughout the years. So in terms of starting off as a new reader, this would be a good one to pick up. The artwork by Eric Coyle and Bill Black on the interior is up to AC's classic standards. Just some excellent shots. Eric Coyle has done work for AC many times over the years. He's done cover work. He's done interiors. I first remember really taking note of his artwork when he drew a series for AC Comics called Fighting Yank that also featured Yankee Girl as a backup and then kind of in the main story as well. And that book was done in a Jack Kirby style. It was just one of the funniest comic book series I've ever read. It probably was the funniest comic book series I've ever read. Just hilarious, very humorous. Eric wrote it and drew and penciled it. So in this one, he's handling penciling duties. And I think Bill Black, the former publisher and former editor-in-chief of AC Comics, is doing the inking. Bill got his start in his professional comic book start, I guess, as an inker with back in the late 60s, early 70s. He worked for Marvel for a time. And he started AC Comics in the early 1980s. So this is a company that's one of the first independent publishers ever. They have survived market ups and market crashes. They've survived distributors going out of business and distributors putting new rules on what you had to do to sell for them to take your books. And they've, found a way to continue to publish and put out quality work every month for, well, I guess this is almost 40 years now. So we start with this introductory section that features Alizarin Crimson, and in it we learn that in a recurring storyline, Night Vale has a mystical artifact called the Cloak of Darkness that enhances her powers, her arcane sorcery. And we learned that alizarin has managed to kind of shred the cloak. She ripped it, trying to take it, trying to steal it, and so she came away with half of it. So what Night Vale is going to be left with is half of the Cloak of Darkness, and Alizarin Crimson is going to use the power in the other half for her nefarious purposes. So that's what we kind of learn at the beginning of the story, and then we get into the kind of the main section of the book. I'm going to guess that the book is 32 pages. I didn't actually count it, so 6, 8, 10, 16, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28 pages. We get to the main part where Alizarin starts to put her plan for the cloak to use, and in doing so, she enlists the aid of somebody who also dislikes Femforce almost as much as she does, and with her assistance, he is able to absorb the powers of the cloak, and it gives him certain mystical powers that they are then used to incapacitate various heroes and heroines during the course of the story. So, in the meantime, Night Vale learns she's been missing this cloak for, hasn't been able to find this cloak for what it ends up being years in story. In this story, she learns that the cloak has been cut in half or shredded in half, and she recovers one half, and then so she's not quite as powerful as she is when she's at full strength with her full cloak, but she is more powerful than she had been operating at with just her normal sorceress powers. So that is where we are. She is, for purposes of this story arc, no longer Night Vale, because she doesn't have her full capabilities. So she has a slightly altered costume, and she is renaming herself at this time as Blue Veil. So that is, and it's because she's closer to her old persona as the Blue Bulleteer. There's more of a Blue Bulleteer feel to her costuming, even though it also has some of the Night Vale feel. So that is kind of where we are story-wise. The story has a little bit of blood. It's comic book violence, and it's in a dream state, so it's not happening in reality. But it's very effective in terms of incapacitating Alizarin's foes and the foes of Richard Latimer, who has become the Dream Shroud, as they start their plan to dominate Earth. So that is the main story in the book. At the back of the book, there's kind of a retro adventure. It's continued from past issues. Night Vale, Guardian at the Gate, and That features some of the Sentinels of Justice. So you have Commando D and Stardust, who is a Femforce member. Night Vale, in her original full, this is a retro story, so we have our full powered Night Vale. Is in the story, but she is incapacitated in the story, and some of the other Femforcers appear. Scarlet Scorpion appears. That's another male hero in the AC's universe, and they are battling a evil force that has attacked from within Night Vale's cloak. That's why she is in a catatonic state, and they are able to bring her out of her state, and ultimately able to trap the being Nagima, and Night Vale is going to take Nagima well into outer space, and not keep it in her cloak anymore, so she can be attacked from behind by it. So deep space will remain frozen and inert forever. So these are fun and entertaining comic book stories. They are kind of a throwback to late Bronze Age, what would have been the modern age in the early 80s. Storytelling, artwork, and all of AC stuff even harkens back in some ways to the Golden and Silver Age. And so you have all these elements of classic comic books. The art is, the traditional American comic book art. And, that is, it's a fun book. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but it does not make fun of its characters or demean its characters. They are, portrayed as being heroic, and that's really why I've enjoyed this book for so long. The characterization that has been built up over years makes them relatable, and continues and carries through, so that anybody picking it up now can still see that these are different personalities, different individuals, with different positive and negative traits. So that's covering the story, just to give you an idea of some of the artwork. Hang on, let me turn off this. So this is one of the pages from the beginning of the book, when Alizarin is kind of recounting the team's history, and you have a shot here from World War II, when Miss Victory and She-Cat and Rio Rita and the Blue Bulleteer were fighting for the Allies against the Axis powers. You have here, this is the Blue Bulleteer when she is becoming the student of Azagoth and is gaining her mystical powers. Here she is as a student of Azagoth. And then the preceding page had them battling a demon. You've got Miss Victory here in her present costume. Night Vale, the sorceress, This is a faux cloak. She's missing her real cloak at this time. That's part of this story arc. Stardust has stellar powers. She has stellar blast capabilities. She's shown using them. Here's Sin. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You get all of the 6 main Femforce characters on this page. So I thought that was one. You can get an idea of the artwork. They're definitely buxom, but they're generally not in cheesecake only poses. These are action scenes. Things are happening. It's not static shots. Later on in the story, this is the Dream Shroud that Crimson has created. This is alizarin crimson here. And here you have Miss Victory and Paragon. This is Paragon. Paragon is her husband. So it's one of those, it's a case where the superheroine is married and has a superhero for a husband. So they're sleeping in bed, and the Dream Shroud comes to Chuck, which is her husband's name, Captain or Paragon's name, and invades his dreams and has him battling an enemy in his dreams from the Korean battlefield. So this is, again, you have, action, a fight, some nice panel design, panel layout here that affords you some nice shots of the characters and still advances the story. So we have that page, and then the last page here is this fight against Nagima at the end with Night Veil and Stardust, She-Cat, Paragon, Scarlet Scorpion, and Commando D. And this is them figuring out how to defeat this entity from the darkness within Night Veil's cloak. And once again, clear artwork. You can tell what's going on. It's not just panel grids, but it's chock full of things happening and visuals, and that would be the book. So, as I said, there's almost 30 pages. And I enjoyed it. The colors are I think the colors work best on this the way they're done. I wouldn't like to see it with that more kind of modern, glossy, shiny coloring work. The inks on here are classic. These inks leave room for colors. So there is work for the colors to do. But there are folds in the fabric of clothing. There's some good shots of the girls too. So I enjoyed this. I would recommend it if you've never read Femforce. You want to get an idea of what it's like. If you're into classic comic books, if you like 80s comic books, this is something that's probably going to appeal to you. It's a good quality product, and I'm going to review the next 2 books, which have this continuing storyline with Blue Veil and Alizarin Crimson's efforts to defeat the Femforce. So, thank you for listening, and I'll see you on the next review.